So I've been with AAM. We were formerly known as the Generic Pharmaceutical Association in the United States, but now it's the Association for Accessible Medicines. I've been with them for 10 years, a little over 10 years actually, and I lead the science and regulatory group of the Association for Accessible Medicines. So my background, history, profession is I'm a pharmacist. Worked in a hospital pharmacy for several years, a director of pharmacy there. Then I moved into what we call in the United States a group purchasing organization. Was there for a few years. And then I moved to a company called Boehringer Ingelheim. And I was a general manager of their generic injectable group. And we were a member of GPHA at the time. And was in Washington, D.C., which is where GPHA is. Previously I was in Cleveland, Ohio. And when I was with the Boehringer Ingelheim organization, I was in Washington, D.C. a lot doing interviews around drug shortages, which has been a huge issue for the world, but particularly in the United States since probably 2008, 2009, something in that time frame. And so I was coming to D.C. a lot to intervene with people and or to testify on Capitol Hill about drug shortages, and one thing led to another, and I joined GPHA. Well, so it feels really good, number one, and number two, this is my third in-person event this year, so that's a good thing. My association, AAM, held an event in February, which was all live, attended another one, so that they're not hybrid anymore, or at least most of them aren't hybrid anymore. So it's been really good because you just don't get the interaction with the people that you need to have from a hybrid process, or from a fully virtual process, I guess is a better way to say that. And so to be able to network and interact, this is where relationships are built. This is where business development begins in a lot of cases and then goes on into a full business relationship. So these are critically important for our business. So a key role, you cannot make a medicine without excipients and the right excipients. So in our world, the generic and biosimilar world, but specifically the generic pharmaceutical world, we make duplicates of the brand of the innovator products, and would really say we reverse engineer those products once all the patents are off and we're ready to develop the product. But in that development process, you of course have the active ingredient, active pharmaceutical ingredient, the drug, if you will. But to get that drug into the formulation to be delivered to a patient, whether it's a tablet, a capsule, a cream, an injectable, doesn't really matter. It requires other ingredients to bind it, to hold it together, to suspend it, whatever the case may be. And that's where the excipients come into play. So we've been working together, I guess, the 10 years I've been there, and it may even have been longer for IPEC and GPHA back in the day, if you will. But there's specific issues, as I said, in that development of the product that has to go forward to the FDA. And those issues are affected differently by the FDA, whether it's the generic company or the excipient company or the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient company, or packaging company. All of those are involved and engaged. But specifically around excipients, there's something called the IID, Inactive Ingredient Database. And that contains a lot of the information that both we, the generic industry, and the excipient industry needs to know and needs to have forefront to be able to develop the products under the right specifications. And so we've been working together to get the IID to a place that we all want it to be, and so that's really the genesis of our work together. In our industry, the generic side of the industry, it's really all about sustainability. As you know, in the innovator side, the prices go up year over year over year, and you see a lot of that in every press, not just the U.S. press, but every press. But in the generic and biosimilar industry, it's the opposite. Prices go down every year. And they go down to the level at some points where companies just cannot afford to continue to make that particular product, and they get out of the product, and that ultimately can lead to and does lead to drug shortages by not having access to multiple versions, multiple company that are in that for the versions of the product. And so I think it's critically important that we continue to address sustainability in the U.S. market and sustainable pricing to the patient. Our prices are coming down, but if you read the press, patients' prices are going up. And so why are they going up, and where's that money going? If it's not going to the pharmaceutical companies, where is it going, and why is the patient the one paying for that difference?